I had nothing when I was thrown out by Ginny. I only brought one set of cosplays, for money. I took on commissions in the CEO circle, cost the white moonlight of each big boss, and later, when the real Miss Tan attempted to humiliate me again, a group of powerful business tycoons arrived on the scene and stood protectively behind me, shouting, "What are you, some lowlife, to dare humiliate my client?" The teacher. By the time you're invested in this novel of fake princesses, it's already over. Everyone rejected me, and I was driven from home. At least my day job is costuming. As is well known, there are two laws of fiction. First of all, the alpha male is everywhere. Secondly, the white moonlight abroad cannot be pursued. And I can play the white moonlight that the tycoons have lost. So I was getting a lot of work. Tonight, I accompanied Liam Lin to the dinner as requested. As I entered the ballroom, there was my sister. Zoe Zhou, in a custom-made gown, stared at me in disbelief. "Oh, it's my sister, all right?" she says, raising her voice and laughing. "Dressed like that? You have the nerve to come here? Are you looking for alms? Or do you want to be a kept woman?" In this novel, I'm a fake Miss Kai raised from childhood, growing up in luxury, coddled by parents. Zoe Zhou, who returned from rural China looking gaunt and worn out. I learned to compromise on my own. She said she liked my bedroom, so I gave it to her. She said she wanted to go on a trip with her parents and not have me along, and I agreed. She was harassed by a thug, and I protected her, taking 3 slashes in her defense. When I woke up from near death, Zoe Zhou was holding my hand, crying like a little girl. She said, "You little witch, you sent those thugs after me to make me jealous of your beauty and success." Mr. and Mrs. Zhou held their daughter close and scolded me for being so heartless. They wouldn't listen to my explanation, and they threw me out. So they'll never know. The fake daughter they despised was already killed by a thug, all right. At least, before she died. She was happy to imagine that if she could just be a little better to her sister, a lot better, maybe her parents would notice her. Zoe Zhou looks more radiant than ever after months apart. He is no longer the thin and miserable person he used to be. And here I am, pale and haggard. It's a side effect of the surgery to save her life. "Sister, you're really suffering now," Zoe Zhou asked, laughing. "What about me pleading with my parents to let you come back to the Zhou household, While I can't be a miss anymore, I could be a toilet cleaner," she said, covering her mouth as she laughed. I also laughed. It's just a disgusting smile. I dove in and pinned Zoe Zhou to the mat. Haha. I am a special operations cosplayer who can hike 5 kilometers in high heels, while carrying a 20-pound prop. Zoe Zhou is in the bag. I rode her hard from both sides. And in the silence, the women of the court gasped and fainted. And no one would come up and pull me off. After all, my current state is to plant a spear in someone, and he will die. The secretary, seeing this, could only run up the stairs to find the host of the evening. The room at the far end of the second floor was pitch black. The figure on the sofa raised his eyes irritably at the sound of footsteps. "Yawn. What is it?" The secretary said in a hushed voice. "Liam Lin. There are 2 women downstairs who have had a fight, and they have broken your new oil painting, which was worth 3 million yuan. The man blew out an impatient breath. "Get up slowly, let's go." By the time Liam Lin arrived, Zoe Zhou's right cheek was already swollen. I must have looked pretty symmetrical if the bodyguard didn't pull me back. As soon as she saw Mr. Lin, Zoe Zhou covered her face and sobbed incoherently. "Look who's talking. You bitch, Vivian Zhou tried to kill me not long ago, and now she's sneaking into the ballroom to beat me up while trashing your party. You have to do something about this, Mr. Lin." "The man is getting annoyed," he barked. "A bunch of slackers. Get your butts over to the police station." He hadn't finished speaking yet. I looked up from where I sat on the ground. I wore a simple white dress, my long black hair flowing down and tears glistening in my hazel eyes. She looked as if she had been crying, but she wouldn't tell him. Liam Lin suddenly stopped. The half-open eyes suddenly flared wide. He just looked at me. His thin lips pursed, but she could not say a word. "It's as if you're afraid to disturb me. It's almost like that. Feared to break the spell." The real Miss Jin was still crying out. "Liam Lin, how can you still tolerate the scum? It hurts so much on me." Liam Lin finally woke up. He came and stood by me, looking down at the fake daughter. "Did she hit you?" Zoe Zhou hung her head in shame. "Yes, ma'am. It must be your fault." Liam Lin said softly, "Get out." Zoe Zhou was dumbfounded. It's her and she's the one who got kicked out. But why? After being invited out of the ballroom by her 2 bodyguards, Zoe Zhou bit her tongue. The fingernails are bloody from being dug into the palms. Hate for Vivian Zhou rose again. She's just a fake princess with low birth. Why can she win the love of so many people? But in the next instant, Zoe Zhou beamed. She does. Liam Lin has a white moonlight in his heart and vows never to get married. And how does that help? Vivian Zhou? In this life, you can only be an unacknowledged, nameless third wheel. She was about to get married to the prince of the capital, anyway. Vivian Zhou will spend her whole life under her own feet. In the banquet hall, Liam Lin reached out cautiously. He asked me, "Will you dance with me?" I'd seen this man on the news before. It said he rose to power as an illegitimate son. Be decisive and cold-blooded. But his ears are red now. He's clumsy, all right. I smiled and placed my hand gently on his. Okay. Liam Lin gave me 100,000. The request was simple. He asked me to dance with him. My girlfriend died of illness. Liam Lin's voice was flat. She's particularly bad. She won't come and visit me in my dreams, even though I've had her for 3 years. He would never agree to my proposal, not even on his deathbed. Liam Lin was called a little bastard and everyone was after him before he returned to Huddersfield Town. Only that girl wanted to play with him, wanted to be with him. But she's sick. Very sick. It'll cost a lot of money to cure her. I work 3 jobs a day, and I even sold my blood, but I still can't raise the money for the medicine. Liam Lin wiped his red eyes. My birth father told me he would get the best doctor if I went back. But my birth father lied to me. He never paid the hospital. She just died. When I asked him, he just laughed and said, "You silly son, I've cured her of that disease, you're going to have to marry her now." He said I was the heir to the Lin family fortune, and that I didn't need that country girl. The music builds to a crescendo. Liam Lin's voice is also muted, fading away. At the end of the dance, Liam Lin wrapped his arms around me. Hot tears were falling on my shoulders, and I heard his soft voice. "Thank you." She just wanted to dance, and I was so shy I wouldn't let her. But I did. I'm content. The next day, a photo of Liam and me dancing went viral, bold and bright. If the fake daughter doesn't know her manners, pretending to be the moonlight to a CEO and be a third party, I can guess that this news is released by Zoe Zhou. It's not just that. Zoe Zhou also sent a lot of gossip reporters. They stopped me at the front door of the hotel where I was staying and asked me, "Miss Zhou, don't you think it's rather unlucky to impersonate a dead by you? They don't get a rise out of me." And the reporter raised his bullhorn and barked, "Miss Zhou, how do you rate Liam Lin and his fairy tale of love? Are you sure you can replace the white moon in Liam Lin's heart? It's a bright, shining provocation." The lights are flashing, and the microphone is almost pressed against my face. But I started laughing. Look up into the camera. Liam and I are just employer-employee. He's my client, I'm his hired teacher, and he pays me to be his high school sweetheart. The journalists were dumbfounded. When they realized there was no big news, the crowd began to boo and look for an exit. "Stay put. I've got something to say." I just took the mic and ran with it. "The girl's gone. But I want to say, despite old man Denning, the girl and Liam Lin have been in love with each other until the end of their days. Engraved. As a very professional and trusted teacher, I'm here to set the record straight about my solo boss and his white moonlight. Such a good couple. Such true love should not be guessed at will, let alone being smudged." Afternoon, Liam Lin called. "Apologies, I was in a meeting this morning and didn't check my phone. I've already sent someone to clear the reporters blocking your door. Also, I have my secretary send you another check for $1 million. Think of it as me treating you to afternoon tea. If those reporters bother you again, don't hesitate to come to me." I laughed. "Take the check back. We agreed on 100,000. I won't take a penny more. But there is something I want to ask you, Liam Lin. Do you know the crown prince of the Beijing Circle, who, Julian Ji?" "Yes, Zoe Zhou's fiancé." Liam Lin paused, his tone becoming hesitant. "Not really." Hearing my silence, Liam Lin thought for a moment, then suddenly laughed. "Though, I know the Grand Emperor of the Beijing Circle. Does that count?" "Who?" "Julian Ji's grandfather. The Ji Family Patriarch is 78 this year. Though not as handsome as a crown prince, he is a veritable Grand Emperor of the Ji family. After his wife passed, he lost all heart for work and passed the reins early to his son and grandson. In recent years, his health has declined." Clutching photos of his deceased wife, he seemed to be waiting for death like a living corpse. "So, when I stood among the rose bushes and turned with a graceful glance, the Ji Family Patriarch, sitting in his wheelchair, gasped, clutched his chest and nearly passed away. Fortunately, the Ji family's private doctor worked miracles. He revived. Alike, truly alike," the patriarch said, chewing hard pills and giving me a thumbs up. "Grace, when she was young, loved wearing pink cheongsams. The patriarch and his matriarch were devoted their entire lives on her deathbed," she said. "I'm going first. You are not to follow me. You must live well. Death is unavoidable. Besides enduring it, there's no other way. One can only endure." The patriarch, weeping uncontrollably, sniffled before he could speak, only to be met with a sharp slap. His Grace glared at him, her spirit as formidable as when they first met. "You silly fool. Do you hear me?" Only when the patriarch nodded obediently like a pecking chick did Grace close her eyes with a smile, looking at the young face before him, so identical to Grace's. The patriarch felt a tremor of fear. The dread of a lifetime under his wife's rule resurfaced. If Grace knew he was living so listlessly and meekly, she would surely grab his ear and scold him. "Not listening to me, are you? I've a good mind to box your ears." And so, the patriarch found motivation. His back stopped aching, his legs no longer went numb. He had energy to go up and down stairs. One afternoon, a week later, a maid cleaning the windows froze, staring outside as if she'd seen a ghost. Trembling, she scrambled to the landline and called Liam Ji. "Young master, something terrible has happened. What's wrong?" The crown prince's voice was stern on the other end. "Is grandfather unwell again? Has he gone to hospital? Don't panic. I'm on my way." "No. No, it's the old master. He's got a rose in his mouth and has driven off on your heavy-duty motorcycle." The crown prince. "What?" "Today was the last day of the commission. The patriarch took me on his motorcycle to our final destination, the cemetery. My son and grandson are more stuffy than I am. They say this place is unlucky, and won't let me come often. A uniquely sly look appeared on the patriarch's weathered face. I don't listen to them, I come secretly. And I thought, she should see your interesting get up too. The paths in the cemetery were long and winding, but the patriarch navigated them with ease, leading me twists and turns until we reached a gray stone. It was a double plot, though the name on the left side wasn't yet gilded, indicating one occupant still lived. The patriarch reached out and gently stroked the stone. He chuckled softly. Grace, look who I brought today. See this girl, doesn't she look like you? This is very fashionable now, called some commission lols. You loved keeping up with trends. If you were still here, you'd probably like it too. This commission teacher I found is skilled, and has a better temper than you. The patriarch placed the rose before the grave, his tone somewhat pleading. But I always preferred your fiery temper. I couldn't help but laugh aloud. The cemetery was deadly quiet. We sat before the small gray stone, talking to Grandma, back and forth. At 5 p.m. we left the cemetery. The week-long commission was over. The patriarch happily handed me a check. I looked down. So many zeros. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. Bloody hell. Take it. Zoe rose. Seeing I meant to refuse, the patriarch smiled kindly. Thank you for keeping this old man company this past week. I haven't had this much fun since my wife passed. I smiled. Grandfather, if you commission me again. No charge, no need. The patriarch waved a hand dismissively, looking up at the sky. The more I see you, the more I miss her. By the way, Zoe rose, do you have a boy you like? I shook my head. You're not going to set me up, are you? The patriarch laughed. Of course not. I just want to tell you, don't seek. Wait. Wait for the one who truly loves you to appear. He winked, turned away. Enough said. Grandfather will buy you some shaved ice. That old shop has been there for years. Julian loved it so much. The patriarch, alone, tottered towards the opposite side of the road. Times change. Cars come and go. Years ago, an innocent girl tugged at her handsome lover, complaining his shaved ice tasted better as they laughed and wandered off into the distance. In the courtyard stands a loquat tree. My wife planted it with her own hands the year she died. Now, its canopy is lush and spreading. I waited for the shaved ice across the street. Suddenly, the click-clack of high heels sounded behind me. A haughty female voice rang out. Vivian Zhou. You are utterly shameless. I turned. It was, of course, Zoe Zhou. She took off her sunglasses, smirking coldly. I heard you've been dating an old man lately. Didn't think it was true. What, couldn't latch onto Liam Lin? So now you're not even sparing an octogenarian. You think compete with me? I was speechless. You're overthinking it. Zoe Zhou snorted triumphantly. Then you're deliberately ruining my reputation. I'm about to marry into the Ji family. I can't have a sister who leeches off old men. She waved, commanding the driver. Behind her, hit her, teach her a lesson. The driver hesitated. Miss, this do it. Zoe Zhou glared. Vivian Zhou, remember this. If I see you entangled with men again, I'll break both your legs. I'd had enough. I lunged at Zoe Zhou, slapping her hard across the face. Seems I didn't teach you enough last time. You dare provoke me again. Cut off guard. Zoe Zhou was knocked to the ground. She screamed at the driver. Quick, get this bitch off me. My hair. In the chaos, the returning patriarch was stunned. He hadn't expected his future granddaughter-in-law to be here, showing such a vicious, shrewish side. Zoe Zhou? He rushed over, demanding angrily. How can you just hit people? Dressed modestly for the cemetery, and having lived reclusively, the patriarch wasn't recognized by Zoe Zhou. Blinded by rage, she yelled, you old relic, this is none of your business, piss off. Or I'll beat you too. No one had ever dared speak to the Ji family patriarch like that in his life. The patriarch's chest heaved, outrageous. He waved his hand. The bodyguard team, standing at a distance, immediately rushed over, surrounding the patriarch and seizing Zoe Zhou. Zoe Zhou, seeing the family crest on the bodyguard's uniforms, was dumbfounded. This is a Ji family crest. Then this old man, terrified. Zoe Zhou timidly looked up, meeting the patriarch's stern, cold expression. Grandfather, this is a misunderstanding, as she forced a smile, trying to explain. I, having just been helped up, suddenly felt dizzy, darkness spotting my vision, before collapsing. I weakly reached out towards the patriarch. Please, Zoe rose. What's wrong? The old man was horrified, rushing to me. To the hospital. Get the car now. The patriarch yelled at the bodyguards while holding my hand, comforting anxiously. It's all right. Grandfather is here. Don't be afraid, I'll save you. He then roared at Zoe Zhou. If anything happens to Zoe Rose, you'll pay dearly. The scene descended into chaos. A Rolls-Royce Phantom and 20 bodyguards. These short drama crews have real money. The male lead is quite domineering too, though a bit old, his lines are whistly. No time to explain. My consciousness was fading into darkness. Actually, when I reached out, I just wanted to say, please, client grandpa, can I have a bite of the shaved ice? I've got low blood sugar. I woke up dazedly in the hospital. The quiet room was only punctuated by the beeping of monitors. Blinking, I heard voices outside the door. Crown Prince, grandfather, don't worry, my little grandma is fine. Patriarch, shut your mouth. You only have one grandmother. The one in the sick is my commission teacher, all right. All right, the crown prince yielded helplessly. Zoe Rose is fine. Fine. I won't argue with you. The patriarch waved his hand, his expression turning serious. Call off your engagement with Zoe Zhou. Why? The crown prince laughed lazily, leaning against the wall, seemingly nonchalant but puzzled. Weren't you and Dad the ones who said the Zhou family daughter had excellent character and temperament, insisting on setting us up? I couldn't refuse then. Now the wedding is near, and you're calling it off? Just because I'm a junior doesn't mean you and Dad can really treat me like a grandson to mess with, right? Watch your mouth. You brat. The patriarch rapped him with his cane. I pushed you and Zoe Zhou together because I heard the girl grew up in the countryside, endured hardships, and was resilient and pure. But what I saw the other day was completely different. Vivian Zhou is her sister. Yet Zoe Zhou was so cruel to her when I tried to intervene. She even threatened to hit me too. She wouldn't even spare an 80-year-old man. The crown prince was shocked. The patriarch sighed before. The Zhou couple told everyone Vivian Zhou was rebellious and wicked, which is why they sent her away to suffer. But now I see that's not true at all. Vivian Zhou probably suffered a great deal in the Zhou family. I listened silently. Blinking. Suddenly feeling a strange mix of sourness and contentment well up in my chest. Not my emotions, likely fragments left by the original host. She had endured so much unfairness, so much grievance. With no one to tell. But at least today, someone knew, and was determined to seek justice for her. This kindness, though late, still made her happy. Zoe Zhou's engagement to the crown prince was cancelled. Several major projects planned between the Zhou and Ji families also fell through. I heard Zoe Zhou was furious, crying until her double eyelids swelled into puffy slits. She tried messaging the crown prince to win back, but found her number blocked. She went mad, ignoring her parents' attempts to stop her. She ran to the Ji Group headquarters in her pajamas, demanding to see her fiancé. When the secretary stopped her, she made a scene in the office area, screaming, crying, and causing a disturbance. When the crown prince found out, he was furious. You called my grandfather an old relic, hurt my Zoe Rose, and still dared hope to marry me. He had bodyguards literally throw her into a large trash bin outside the building and erected a sign, Zoe Zhou, and wild boars keep out. Hearing this, I couldn't help but laugh. Things were looking up, thanks to the patriarch's publicity. More and more tycoons sought my commissions. Liam Huo, who fell into depression after his white moonlight went abroad. Liam Lin, who seemed cold but was actually socially anxious. Liam Zhou, who had just returned from Germany after having his leg reset because he liked his adopted sister, and got beaten for it. Whatever their reasons, I did my best to recreate scenarios and help them overcome their shadows. Under my guidance, Liam Huo recovered from his depression, mustered courage to fly abroad, vowing to win back his white moonlight. I wished him success. With my chatterbox companionship, Liam Lu went from mute to talkative. I heard his parrot, unable to bear his constant talking, ran away from home. As for Liam Zhou, he had an epiphany. He officially separated his household registration and openly pursued his adopted sister, wished him success too. While my commission business flourished, Zoe Zhou arrived with her mother, Mrs. Zhou. This time, Zoe Zhou was meek and submissive. Elder sister, I was wrong. Zoe Zhou was immature before. Please forgive me. Mrs. Zhou also took my hand, speaking earnestly. Your sister speaks bluntly. She's guileless. She just wanted to scare you, not actually harm you. As the elder sister, don't be so petty. Scare me? I smiled wryly, shaking off Mrs. Zhou's hand, her slandering me with reporters. Trying to scar my face, was that just scaring? Mrs. Zhou, I've been kicked out. What sister do I have here? Oh? You child. Mrs. Zhou sighed helplessly, looking at me as if I were being unreasonable. Look, if you just call the Ji Family Patriarch, you'll be the Zhou family's young lady again. Seeing Mrs. Zhou's magnanimous expression, I burst out laughing. I'm not interested. I uttered these four words and turned to leave. But the Zhou family driver grabbed my arm and kicked me hard behind the knees. Excruciating pain shot through me, and I collapsed to the ground. Gritting my teeth against the pain, I coldly stated, "Let me go, or I'll call the police." Go ahead. Zoe Zhou approached, pressing her slender stiletto heel hard onto the back of my hand. I cried out in pain. She chuckled lightly. Elder sister, this is a family matter. Why would the police bother? I didn't understand how this constituted domestic violence. It was clearly assault. But when the police heard I was the Zhou family's adopted daughter, they merely gave the Zhou mother and daughter a verbal warning before leaving. I was forcibly taken back to the Zhou residence and locked in the basement. Surveying the dark, cramped room, I felt an inexplicable familiarity, though I'd never been there before. After a moment, I realized the original host had been locked here many times. When Zoe Zhou accused me of bullying her, when Zoe Zhou wanted to play a joke on me, time and again. Elder sister, will you obediently call Liam Ji, or stay locked up here? Zoe Zhou asked smugly. Choose carefully. Calmly, I replied. Want me to plead for you? Don't even dream of it. I wouldn't give in. One compromise would lead to endless threats. Besides, if I yielded, the original host's suffering would be in vain. Fine, have it your way. Zoe Zhou slammed the door angrily. Then rot in here. The musty, windowless room made it hard to gauge time. I could only measure it by pain. Lips cracked from thirst, probably 6 hours, stomach cramping from hunger. Probably a day. After what felt like an eternity, the pain overwhelmed me, and I passed out. Memories not my own flooded in. Mr. Zhou sneaking calls in the kitchen late at night. Zoe Zhou actually came back from the countryside herself to find her family. Can't hide it anymore, damn it. If my wife finds out about what happened back then, I'm finished, slap. Zhou hitting me hard, shut up. Get out. You're not my daughter. A private detective handing me a file, Miss Zhou. Our investigation confirms a 99.99% DNA match with Mr. Harold Zhou. You are indeed his biological daughter. I woke up. In the darkness. I laughed silently. So, there was no true or false heiress scenario, no accidental swap at birth. Not even a malicious nanny switching me and Zoe Zhou. It was Mr. Zhou and his mistress, Vivian Zhou's birth mother, who deliberately switched me and Zoe Zhou. I was the child of Mr. Zhou and his lover. Now exposed with Zoe Zhou back, he feared I'd uncover the truth if I stayed. He was desperate to drive me out, wanting me to die forgotten. But in reality, someone as sharp as the original Vivian Zhou had already discovered the truth. Yet to keep the family intact, to prevent her parents from fighting, she never spoke of it, burying it deep inside. I gently touched my chest. How absurd that some parents truly cannot love their children. The physical pain intensified. At least 3 days had passed. No one from the Zhou family had checked on me or brought food. It seemed they intended to torture me to death. In that case, I had no reason to hold back. I reached into my wig. Hidden inside was a smartwatch. The wig maker had proudly shown off his clever design. I thought it ridiculous then. Why would I, not an assassin, need to hide a kid's watch in my hair? But now, I doubted, understood, and was grateful to the wig maker, thanking her ancestors 8 generations back. Tapping the small screen, I found Liam Lin's number and pressed call with a trembling finger. Vivian Zhou? Liam Lin answered almost instantly. Your parents said you stopped taking commissions. What happened? Are you alright? No. I coughed, laughing weakly. Liam Lin, this time you might need to save me. That very night, Liam Lin led the charge. Ji, Huo, Zhu, Lu, several tycoons jointly shorted the Zhou family's assets. Simultaneously, major newspapers and news outlets exposed numerous scandals about the Zhous, including photos and videos of them mistreating their daughter, locking her in the basement. Zhou Group stock price plummeted, with bad news piling up. Mr. Zhou couldn't sit still. He stormed into the basement. You bitch, he kicked me in the stomach. His face contorted. It must be because of you that Liam Lin and Liam Ji are attacking us. How did those photos and videos get out? Underestimated you. Doubled over in pain, pale and speechless, I watched as Mr. Zhou took a deep breath, crouched down, grabbed my hair, and forced a paternal smile. Be good. Vivian Zhou. Call Liam Lin. Tell them to stop targeting daddy. You're a Zhou daughter. If our family goes bankrupt, you'll suffer to. Just do as I say. And you'll still be mommy and daddy's good girl. We'll love you properly. It was the first time I'd heard such warmth and softness in Mr. Zhou's voice towards me. Blinking blurry eyes, I nodded submissively, took the phone with a shaking hand, and with my last ounce of strength smashed it onto the floor. The screen shattered into a spider web, emitting a faint white glow that illuminated my triumphant smile. I haven't been your daughter for a long time. You old fool, I said slowly. Keep your disgusting love? I don't want it. You, Mr. Zhou, enraged, reached to strangle me. But just as his hand extended, bang, the old iron door crashed in. Bright light flooded the room. I saw the crown prince of the Beijing circle silhouetted in the doorway, shouting anxiously, Zoe Rose, Zoe Rose. Are you in here? Behind him was a veritable army of tycoons. All there for me. What does it feel like to love someone? Liam Lin knew. It was momentary joy and a lifetime of pain. Back then, he was too weak to protect the girl he loved. Now, he thought, he must at least try to protect this kind girl. He called the Ji Family Patriarch. If you prefer not to make an enemy of the Zhous, consider this call never happened. Rubbish. The Patriarch boomed. I'm involved now. You stay back. I'll lead the charge. If the Zhous call the police, I'll lie down and throw a fit. Liam Lin. After hanging up, the fuming patriarch posted a TikTok video. The Zhous have gone too far. Bullying my commission teacher. Just you wait. Since Grace passed, he'd been drifting. But after meeting that girl, he not only learned to use WeChat moments but also TikTok unexpectedly. The video went viral. Comments flooded in from netizens unaware of the context. Is this old man delusional? An old guy who knows about commission lols. Pretty trendy. Ha 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 ha. Is this old man nuts? Stop laughing. Do you know who he is? No, the Beijing circle's crown prince Julian Ji. Even he kotos and calls this man grandfather. Thus, the hashtag who bullied the Beijing Grand Emperor's LOLs trended. Liam Lu, Liam Huo, Liam Zhou all found out. The tycoon circle erupted. One tycoon said, Zoe Rose comforted me. Such a good girl being bullied. I won't stand for it. Another said, if not for Zoe Rose, I'd still be depressed. Everyone had a reason. Tycoons clamored to defend their teacher. Eventually, they formed an entire motorcade of tycoons. A line of luxury cars led the way, flanked by bodyguards, heading straight for the Zhou villa. I don't remember much after that. As I passed out from exhaustion after being rescued, I woke up in a VIP hospital room. The crown Prince, while peeling an apple, informed me that the Zhou family was bankrupt. Your fake parents are in jail for tax evasion. Heard they turned on each other in court. I got it on video for you to watch like a comedy skit. Zoe Zhou had a breakdown. Couldn't handle the shock. And was committed to a psychiatric hospital. Don't worry, no one will bully you anymore. Open up. I obediently opened my mouth for the apple. Chew, chew, chew. So sweet. Just then, a knock came at the door. A handsome face appeared. The speaker had a pleasant Cantonese accent. Excuse me, is this Zoe Rose? Do you take commissions in Hong Kong? Private jet round trip. Budget is unlimited. It seemed my clientele was expanding. Leaning on the crown prince's arm, I sat up straight and answered loudly, I do. Bright sunlight streamed through the window. I thought to myself, from now on, the weather should be nothing but fine.